Hey there. Hang tight. Uh, Forgive all my laundry piling up in the background, but I'm bored and I want to improvise with some music. So I don't know. Freshly tuned. We'll see. Maybe I should try to write some lyrics. So I have something to talk about while I'm playing this weird stuff. I'm gonna call this one. Let's see. Dripping blood. Got enough of a headache from you. Headache, it's going strong. I got enough of a headache from you. It's been going on too long. Get yourself together. Get your stuff together and move on. Drops of blood are moving in me faster than they need to roll. Drops of blood are carrying messages through me. Now they roll from my tongue. And I'm wet on the inside, and I'm red, and I'm warm, and I'm racing. You gotta get yourself together, or get your stuff together and move on. Oh, get yourself together, get your stuff together and move on. I don't know, that sucks, man. I don't know. You know what? I'm gonna have to. Maybe I could work with that. Maybe I could work with that and turn it into a poem or something. I don't know. It's about. Hmm, I don't know. Coming to the end of any sort of situation that you might be realizing, oh gee, yeah, this really is probably not going to work out if it continues on this path. So you're given that little nudge, and you're given fair warning, right? Who hasn't done that? Hey, if this is going to work, some things have got to be different, and then maybe they'll get different for a little while, and then uh, things just kind of go back, and maybe you have to give that little nudge every once in a while. You have to get that little reminder, hey, listen, uh, I'm not my best self right now, and maybe you're not your best self right now, uh, and gotta sort of find that mutual, like, something, because we're either gonna edify in this situation, or we are going to what's the opposite of edify? um I don't know. I'm trying to think. Oh my god, what's a good antonym for edify? That's also artistic and clever. But anyway, point is, it's like, hey, we're gonna be here to provide a mutual benefit for each other, or we are going to be parasitical, and that's not going to help either. So we're going to be, like, yeah, So I'm gonna work it. Oh, and I like that, because there's reference to the. Now, I don't mean to be all like gory or gothic, but I think when I started getting into the whole, I think I just wanted something catchy, and I just kind of spun it from there. But I was just kind of half-ass playing around. But yeah, it's like, let's say, what can I glean from that? Oh, um, that getting agitated uh, gets the blood pressure up, gets that. Yeah, so you get all like kind of warm and heated on the inside, and it's like, ugh, this is not necessarily the kind of like body heat you want to hear about. This isn't like getting steamed up because you're like uh, having a romantic moment. Uh, Although I suppose in any great romance you have those tense moments where you gotta like kind of lay it out and say, hey, this is how the cow eats the cabbage. So maybe that's what this song is about. Just somebody saying, hey, this shit's it's gotta stop. I don't know. I don't know. I play around, and I do a lot of just straightforward, like covers of people's songs when I'm playing around, just kind of like and I can't even like do songs the way they're written, because I'm just one guy with a guitar, and that I don't even play very well, and I don't sing very well, and my meter's all off and everything like that. So I just kind of have fun with it, and I love like older songs. If I try to do songs that people are doing today, uh, I know if somebody sees this video, and and I'm doing a song that's popular, that's been popular or something, I know the first thing that's going to pop into someone's head is, "Huh, that doesn't sound anything like it's supposed to sound." Because I do that. I criticize other people too. And that's the thing. It's like I'm sensitive to criticism, so it's like, oh my god. But also, if I'm just sitting around like playing around with the guitar or keyboard or whatever it is that I'm doing, then it's like I can pretty much let my mind wander, and I'm more free. And when I open that part up, then I'm more apt to create something poetic. So I haven't given up on my idea of my book, by the way. I really just need to find out what I can about how to. There's a submission application that I learned about, um, how to um, submit written works to like Amazon and everything. So now uh, I'm just kind of like trying to read up on it and get comfortable with it. And before I format, because I was managed to save a lot of what I was working on. I did lose some of it uh, in the laptop that I was working on. I lost some of the work, but thank God I saved a good deal of it. And but basically, that's it's the book is finished, and it's just a book of lyrics and poems, and so nobody reads that stuff anyway. But my whole thing is I wanted that to be the first thing that I put out, uh, basically just as an exercise on how to actually self-publish, so that uh, with that out of the way and that knowledge out of the way, I'm free just to sit down, quite literally, with a pencil, a number two pencil, and a lined paper with three-prong holes punched in it and everything. Because when I was a little boy in school, I wrote on school notebook paper, not even in composition books. I wrote on notebook paper. Sometimes I would write on plain white unlined paper, but I would write in columns, and then I would like save the staples from my school papers that the teachers passed out tests and all that returned. And I'd take, because we were so poor, let me tell you, that I would save those little tiny staples and unstaple them by hand, and then restaple them into the center of the pages and fold it and make little books. And that's the writing that I would do, uh, especially in middle school, and pass them around to my friends. And they were like horror stories and things like that, little, whatever. And I'm talking about like, for me, I'm like, 11, 12 years old, and I'm thinking that I'm writing like the most adult shit, right? And I'm like, I'm using language that kids that age should not be using, especially if it's going to possibly be seen by adults. I mean, like my characters, it wasn't pornographic, but they had like love scenes, and they would, and then of course the only thing I knew was to, whatever. I don't know. Like the only thing that I could think about was like, you some of the magazines I used to sneak looks at or whatever, and I thought I was being sneaky. I think my folks must have known that I was like, But anyway, uh, we were kind of like, we were a house that, uh, for the most part, uh, you could go to either one of my parents with questions. You can ask them anything. Uh, now with my mother, it was like as long as it fit in her belief system. When I first uh, broached the subject, I didn't even come out to my mom, but when I first went and talked with her, uh, boy, did she have a panic, freak out on Jesus attack. And now and but that was just her, and it was not out of judgment. It was not out of hatred. Um, She wasn't judging my character. She just had this fear for my mortal soul, or whatever. And also, just kind of a fearful for my life. I mean, this was in the 80s going into the 90s, and people were still getting murdered, for this kind of like, we have open dialogues and conversations about this kind of stuff now in the world and in our country and everything. But what a scary thing that's going on. Not to be political, but what if for some reason, don't say that it can't happen, bigotry can rise up in mass in any form. And if somebody were to come across, right now it's undocumented people, and it's how it's happening is that it's been able to be weaponized. And I think people are speaking up, and people are not necessarily turning the other way. But then there's a lot of people who are, uh, not doing anything more than having feelings, but that strong, powerful feelings, but the actions and words are maybe apathetic as to some of the things that are happening. As far as I'm all about going out and getting criminals off the street. Uh, However, I'm also about innocent until proven guilty. I believe in the American sentiment that is best expressed by our Declaration of Independence, uh, the preamble that all men are created equal, and that line does not say it does not say we believe that all citizens of these 13 colonies that we are going to form into the United States of America, all these people are equal, but everybody else is on their own. That's not the sentiment that we put forth when we founded this country and decided to strike out and be independent from England, really, those 13 colonies. Is that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men were created equal, and they're granted certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And I think that's what most people are doing, and we're snatching them up for that, even after we've allowed them to be here knowingly for quite some time. I feel like it's like maybe it should be kind of like, it was a game that we used to play. Any number of games, tag, freeze tag, hide and seek, anything where you would run and try not to get tagged, because then you were it. And if you didn't want to be it, at some point you found base and you were safe. Was that the lie? That there's safety in our American freedoms? What if one day they decide that we take it back, gay people shouldn't be married and they shouldn't be legalized? Then that's a very real thing. That fear can come up. Maybe it's like, hey, all these new expressions of liberties is too much for us to deal with, and there's too many letters that want to be equal in the alphabet of the what I'm so a lot of it's about finances, but a lot of these bigotries and prejudices are being weaponized, not even because it matters on any other level except for finances. So, uh, yeah, I'm sorry. I snuck in a little political commentary there. I'm not taking political sides on parties or anything like that. It's just that there's a way to go about things. And, at some point, if a person's been here and they have proven uh, their contribution, why does that person have to be exiled? I don't know. Is that the word for it? If it's an immigrant, I don't know. I don't. I think this is just on a lot of people's minds. Um, yes, there are criminals, uh, but let's extend those rights to everybody. Regardless of whether they're a resident, whether they're documented, undocumented. Let's give some due process. Bring them and like before we're gonna treat them like a criminal that's really they're doing more than just laying low, but they're really committing crime. Let's find that out before we treat them like criminals. I think that's what's the thing is. I don't think people really are objecting as much to what's going on as much as they are objecting to the way that it's going on. I mean, this is so opposite of the path to citizenship that should be happening. And I don't know. I'm sorry. I normally don't talk. I don't know why I got on that. I'm very. That's one of the things that music will do. It will open the emotions, and whether music is if music is not political, if it is emotional, it will open the consumer of music. It Whoever receives that music, it has the power to open their emotions and let their emotions uh, tip their minds and let them start to wander. And that's one of the beautiful things I like about it's one of the things I like about instrumentals, bits of music that don't have lyrics, But it's hard to do that with just being a guy and a guitar. And I only have a few chords at my disposal. I don't have a wide variety of musical vocabulary. So I got to work on that. See that look of concentration on my face? I'm really getting into it, right? See if I remember. I got my ticket for the long way out. Got sodas and snacks for the way. But I sure would like some sweet company. I'm leaving tomorrow, what do you say? When I'm gone, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. You're gonna miss me by my prayer. You're gonna miss me everywhere. You're gonna miss me when I'm gone. I'm so messing these chords up. I got my ticket for the long way around. It's the one with the sweetest of views. It's got mountains, it's got rivers, it's got sights to make you shiver, but it sure would be prettier with you when I'm gone. When I'm gone, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. You're gonna miss me by my walk, you're gonna miss me by my talk. Oh, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. When I'm gone, when I'm gone, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. You're gonna miss me here and there, you're gonna miss me everywhere. Oh, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. When I'm gone, when I'm gone, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. You're gonna miss me by my hair, you're gonna miss me everywhere. You're gonna miss me when I'm gone. I'm messing these lyrics up too, but what's it? It's from the, you know, it's from the Pitch Perfect movie, you know, where she's doing the cuts, you know. And then she's like singing the song, and then yeah, so I forget the actress's name. Something Kendra, something, but I don't know. But anyway, yeah, she's the lead, and then of course it was actually a version of the song was done by the Carter family way back in the 50s or 60s or something like that, and so it really is a whole different, like it's very folky all the way around. I think that's why I like it, because that's what I do, like um, anachronistic music that really should have no place in today's world. But I like doing it. But it's more of a security thing. I feel like I'm not really that great. I'm not really that great of a musician, so I don't have to worry about people like comparing the stuff that comes out today. You know, like. Wasted all my days over you. I'm like rolling in my head thinking of what other kind of song I might could play. I don't really have. This is so funny. I've got a lot of poems that I've written that could be music. Some of them started out as musical lyrics, but I don't really have like music that I've written to go with those lyrics. So whatever. Except for this one, I wrote this one. But I've done it before. Like these songs have been done in other videos way back. I'm just kind of like, you know. This one is called Empty Cup. You'll dream about the love you give up. You wonder why you have an empty cup. You know the fire. You know the fire of loneliness. You see sapphires in the light. You won't sleep throughout the night. 'Cause you'll know the cold. You'll know the cold of loneliness. I should have kept myself away from you. I should have not given up myself to you. 'Cause I feel the fire. I feel the fire of loneliness. Anyway, that's about as far as that ever got. I think there was like another verse that I wrote in between, like, but I decided that I didn't like it, so I never really included it. It's in like the written poem part, but I don't think it's gonna be like if I ever made a song uh, like I just did. I don't think I'd put that verse in it, but it's basically just it basically is just another verse that repeats the same thing about like, hey, I kind of made a mistake in trusting this situation. Not necessarily that you know you're wrong or that I'm wrong, but hey, we're not as compatible as we would like to be. We tried it out and it didn't work. But you know, I think I'm feeling a lot of this not because I'm lonely or anything like that, but I've had some relationships over my life, and some of them were pretty long. You know, no, not really. They're right around the 3 4 year mark or whatever, and it's like, you know, we're not really syncing up, are we? You know, so uh, let's see. No, I don't want to do that one. Let me just play around some more. arpeggio. I don't really know. I don't even know how to say the word. I like I like tones and sounds that go together, but they actually don't quite go together. But somehow they kind of fit. Um, like when you have different pieces from different Lego kits or something like that, or different parts, and uh, uh, they don't go together. Like maybe you have some pieces that are meant to make like the Millennium Falcon for Star Wars, some Lego pieces. But then over here you got some pieces that are meant to make like a Lego garage set or something like that. And you put them all together and they don't fit, they don't go together, and they are wonky and jagged and completely impractical and would never work as an architectural structure. But in the world of imagination and play, they can go together. And so I think that's kind of the experimental kind of music thing that I like to play with. Just not even there's no effects on this or anything like that because I don't have anything because I'm too poor for effects pedals, and uh, and I'm not savvy enough for studio equipment on a laptop that to learn how to do all that. But otherwise, it'd be really kind of cool because today it's like well, no, I think that actually kind of started way back in the psychedelic era, where people would use uh, studio effects. And it wasn't just about producing music to make it sound good, but they actually started to do that to change the tone of music. So they kind of took some of the musicianship out of the hands of the instrumentalists and put it in the hands of the people who were working control boards and producing music. And they actually used those as instruments, you know, kind of the way a conductor uh, would conduct a symphony, or maybe a choir master what might conduct different voices to come together and make sounds that couldn't be made individually, So, but I don't have not at my disposal, not now, and because I'm just like it's just me with my little guitar. I don't have to do all that. sometimes you really just don't want to follow a structure. You just want to make a little noise and get a few things out of your head, you know, and you know, kind of find that soothing place. I like to think of this high E string that I'm walking up and down. I like to think of that as the carpenter ant string, or the ant string. When I see little ants running around on the ground and they're bringing this back and they're going back and forth or whatever, this kind of reminds me of little ants walking up and down. I just have that image of like little carpenter ants kind of climbing over each other. I learned the difference between fire ants and carpenter ants a long time ago. There's a difference. One will climb over you and not really bother you. One will bite you, and you might have a pretty severe reaction in perspective to the bite, and especially if there's quite a few of them, uh, yeah, it could make you really sick. I think I have this primal fear of like ants. Anyway, because well, there was a movie that came out in the '70s, and I think Suzanne Summers was in it from Three's Company as one of her, and it was about ants, and the ants would like chew you up and eat you, you know. And to me, it was almost like the ant. It was the earlier. It was basically, it was made for TV movie. I think I saw it on TV, but it was one of those Nature Gone Wild things. It's kind of like that movie Swarm or Tarantulas or something. It was basically ants, but and they would. To me, it almost was like a, and then there was none kind of thing. It was like it was almost like a slasher, but the ants were not slashing you; they would just eat you up. That's the way that I remember it in my little kid mind. I think I may have been about 5 or 6 years old when I don't even think I saw the movie. I think I saw like um, the promotional material on TV, the commercials or something like that, and we didn't really watch it. But I don't recall, but I do remember the idea, and it was like, oh my god, the ants are gonna get you, you know. Sometimes childhood can be a scary place, huh? Sometimes, uh, sometimes adulthood can be scary too. It's all about the kind of stuff that we put into our brains. I do like a good scary movie and everything, but I like the more over the top cartoonish kind of stuff. Like the um, just American Horror Story, where or uh, some of the things where it's like just uh, just so over the top that it's not real. Uh, but there's some suspense and gripping and everything like that. I love that kind of stuff. But um, I don't know. I find myself more intrigued in like action movie and comedy and everything. But yeah, I'll tell you, it's not so much. Uh, it's movies and the way they're censored. It's not so much about content. Hear me out, um, because uh, yeah, there are a lot of action movies that you can get out and go see, and I don't know, like yeah, people get like gunned down by machine guns and stuff like that or whatever, and it doesn't really draw like the ear of the public, like the outrage, and it doesn't get that ultimate criticism the same way that, like, say, uh, like a horror movie that's really suspenseful and it's got a lot of jump scares and all that kind of stuff. That will get people to be like, hey, you shouldn't really watch that, especially if you're younger, because it's very scary. But then we don't mind letting younger impressionable minds get a hold of, like, violent video games, and action movies and things like that, so, and we have no idea what's going on the screen. I'm not suggesting censorship if you happen to be in charge of helping to mold young minds. I'm not suggesting censorship. What I am suggesting is uh, parental awareness. Be aware of the content that's being viewed, because I was such a sensitive person as a young child that I don't know. I was really aware. I was silent a lot. Um, I didn't. I think there were some times when I was real little, I didn't want to go to bed unless there was a security of a nightlight, because I didn't want the total darkness. That kind of let my imagination run completely wild. And you know what? Sometimes the ghosts and monsters, well, they might be real, and it doesn't matter if they are or not. If the mind is thinking that they're real. So yeah, I don't know. Being exposed to some of the things uh, uh, that kids are allowed to expose themselves to. By the way, with that, because just like giving turning a young child loose with screen time and not monitoring what the content um, is yeah, yeah. And I'm not talking about little kids playing like little cartoony, uh, gumdrop games, but when they get a little older, they become hunt and seek, and yeah, I don't know. I don't think if I was very young, I should have been in charge of a game. Uh, I don't know if my mind would have been able to separate reality from fiction as a small child. Uh, I'm almost certain that I wasn't, because like the cartoons and the TV shows and everything that I watched as a small kid, that world of make believe was kind of real for me. The imagination is great. The little world that we can create for ourselves, and I do it today, even as an adult. Just here by myself. Um, and so I think if I were exposed to like great violence as a small child, like when my personality was developing, 4, 5, 6, 7 years old or whatever, if I was exposed to some of the things that I see kids at today, I've seen parents just tune in to programs and programming, and it's all out there. And I mean, if it's made, it's out there to view. Like it's not like when I was a kid, we had like three channels on TV. Uh, and so we kind of, we're a little bit limited. There are no more limits, and adult parents and babysitters and caregivers and stuff like that. I mean, they can pretty much access any type of content, and sometimes they do that in the presence of younger children. And I do worry. I do worry because I just remember being uh, 4, 5, 6, 7 years old or whatever, and that world of pretend feeling so real to me. Like there was a separation, and I knew the difference between realism, what was real and what was not. But when I'm in that moment and I'm playing a game and I'm play acting and let's pretend or whatever, sometimes boy, it can really get to feeling real. You can really get swept up in the feelings because when you are, and I've been a stage performer, so I know this for a fact. When you're playing a scene on stage in front of people, and maybe even if you're filming, I've heard people say, but you don't really know your body reacts in the same way if you're really into it and you're manipulating your emotions for the specific purpose of creating a good scene for viewers, people who might see it. Then what happens is that your body and your whole reaction, everything, it doesn't really understand that you're acting. Because in a sense you're not. In a sense you're in that moment and you're on stage and you're saying those things and you're doing those things and you're having those heightened emotions and everything, and it comes off really, really great. Well, that's really great acting, but it's methodical and you're into it, and it's a lot different. It's kind of like when you really like maybe you're reading a story to your little kid, the big bad wolf, and you're like, oh, up and up, puff and up, blow you really get into doing the voices or whatever, then it's kind of like that, you can get, yeah, yay, in that moment, so, um, and for small children, when they do that, sometimes it can cloud, the emotions can get clouded, even if you understand, um, but yeah, I don't know. There's that little thing when you're coming out of toddlerhood, because my memory goes all the way back to me learning these things, and when you're coming into and you turn developing your personality is developing and you're becoming the person that you're going to become, um, and you're playing those little kid games. It's like wow, it feels so real, and you have to learn that understanding that this is just a game. This isn't real. That kind of stuff. So. So let's just be careful, the content that we expose children to, and not even like little children. Let's just be aware. I'm not saying censor children. Know children, the children in your lives. Know them, talk to them, interact with them. Uh, because I got some of that, but then some of that I didn't. I mean, a lot of times, my parents worked, and a lot of times it was me in my room at a table, pencil and paper, creating my own little world. And so I didn't always have, not that I think I suffered for it, but I didn't always have like, I didn't always really have a connection or know, you know what I mean? Like on a, there was a certain duality, and then being like a closeted uh, gay boy, and everybody says that they knew by the time I grew up. Everybody, and I came out. Everybody's, once they got over their initial BS, uh, their uh, Christian based fear, uh, for my safety and my soul and all that. Once they got over all that, then they were all like, "Well, we knew, and you should have been this, and it's like, okay, well, uh, did you really know? Did you really, I don't know. But because I mean, I wasn't like as obvious, like um, but whatever. I mean, they done, it's like so weird. Why am I going? Well, uh, I don't know. I think I talk about these things because sometimes it helps to talk about them. But although I mostly have resolved all this stuff, I'm just like talking because it's a dialogue that we didn't have in the 70s and 80s and everything. I remember being in kindergarten and my teacher, Miss Petrix, and I was sitting at a desk at our little inside playtime, and I was playing telephone with a little boy, a little black boy. I don't remember his name, but I remember it may have been Dennis. I don't know. But I remember, and it wasn't out of any kind of anything. It was just the most innocent, weird little thing. I just, out of nowhere, I told him that I was going to marry him when I grow up. Like I said, I'll marry you when I grow up. I was like, I choose you. And there was nothing gay or anything. It was just, I knew that grown ups grew up and they got married. I had no concept as to sexuality or anything like that. And it was more like, hey, you're a cool friend. It'd be crap, man. Why don't we get married? That kind of thing. It was so weird, but uh, yeah, I was kindergarten, and then I remember having uh, but there was no crush or what boy crush or anything. It didn't make any kind of sense at all. But I remember having little boy crushes on older guys, and I mean like and I don't mean like crushes. I mean like, oh, falling in love. When you get those adolescent crushes. Well, mine was falling in love with dudes. So, but there wasn't a way to process that. There was no one to go to. There was no, because you really, that's the kind of thing that like um, you knowing the parents that I have now, they probably would have had that initial, oh my god, uh, and it would have been weird for a while. But then I think just the same thing, if I'd have came out when I was very young, if I'd have known what was going on and I'd come out, I think basically the same thing. I think eventually they would have had that initial oh my god, and then I think after a tense few weeks or whatever, I think they would have gotten over it, or gotten used to it, or whatever. It wouldn't have been such a thing. I don't know, but I don't know. Uh, but whatever. Uh, it's just that when you're adolescent and you're going through uh, your crushes and stuff like that. Uh, you could, and I dated girls. I had girlfriends and stuff like that, But and they weren't covers. I mean, there was some sincerity to it. I mean, I cared, but I don't know. It's like they say that love's a gentle thing, but it's only brought me pain. For the only girl I've ever loved has gone on the morning train. I never will marry. I'll take no pride. I expect to live single all the days of my life. I'm butchering these chords too. Well, the train pulled out, the whistle blew, She's gone like the morning dew. She left me all alone. I never will marry. I'll take no wife. I expect to be single all the days of my life. So there's many a change in the winter wind, and a change in the clouds design. There's many a change in a young girl's heart, but never a change in mine. I never will marry. I'll take no wife. I expect to live single all the days of my life. I don't know, that sounds horrible. You know, you probably could play pretty much anything if you have an opening chord and a closing chord uh, at the beginning and the ending of a phrase. You probably could sing over any kind of weird thing that sounds horrible, but you probably could entertain yourself well enough, like I'm doing right now. So if you've ever wanted to think about picking up any sort of weird musical instrument, you should do it. When I was real little, not real little, but I guess so, yeah. First, second grade or something like that. My older sister had a guitar that she would pick around and play, and she picked it up pretty well. And I really didn't. And I didn't, I think when I was, and I was a small dude for my age. I think I was probably about 13. I think my dad tried to teach me, and he was able to show me how to play a G chord. I do remember that. I remember the position. I don't think he named it a G. I think he just showed me put your finger here, put your finger here, put your finger here. And I learned how to play. I didn't actually. My little hand couldn't stretch for it. You know what I mean? And I didn't understand. Hey, there's 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 a certain thing called an aptitude that you might have for a certain skill, but for the most part, um, there's no such thing as a real natural talent. You actually have to play and study in order to get good. And certainly, I never did that. I don't do it now, But that's why really respect professional musicians, and anybody today. It seems like they can run music through a anything. They can run it through a program, a computer program, and they can bend it and turn it into whatever it is they want. They can take something that's old and turn it into something that sounds very different and very new from what it used to sound. It's beyond sampling. It's it's like taking a photo and then running it through so many different filters that it no longer resembles the photo, and you've bent it and twisted it and flipped it and layered it on top. And you could do that with the photo. You could do that with your phone right now. Take a picture and just edit the hell out of it, and twist it and warp it, and uh, you know, well, you could do that with music too, and so until it's unrecognizable, really. And I think that happens a lot. But I respect someone who can pick up a flute and blow into a flute and make a melody. There's not a lot of that type of stuff going on. Not that I think that I would ever play to a professional level, but who with Linda Ronstadt in her book, Simple Dreams, and she said in the book that she thinks that or it may have been in the documentary, Still Within the Sound of My Voice, but I think it was in the book Simple Dreams that I read it. But she may have said it in the documentary too. But I'm a big Linda Ronstadt fan. But she said that she felt that too much of the arts are delegated. Too much of the art in our culture is delegated to professionals, and we really don't sit around like we used to and pass a guitar around. And sometimes at the holidays we get to do that. Mostly my oldest nephew will grab a guitar or something like that. But it's yeah. I love to do that. I love to take it, like when people come over, and if I get a group together, I like to welcome them to pick up one of my instruments and play it or something like that. Be gentle though. Every once in a while, a string will break, and it's like I don't really have the money to replace all these. But I think music is best shared with a room full of people, But I do like to entertain myself and make videos too. Okay, so how long have I talked? Let's see. Oh yeah, about an hour and 10 minutes. Thank you for enduring this. If you've gotten to the end of this, whatever. One more song. I've done this one a zillion times too. It's my take on Solomon Burke's "Cry to Me" that I learned from the movie Dirty Dancing. When Johnny Castle and Baby are kind of like laid up in the cabin together, and there's like a record playing, and I don't do it in that R&B way because I can't, When your baby leaves you all alone, and nobody calls you on the phone, don't you feel like crying? Don't you feel like crying? Here I am, honey, come on. Cry to me. When you're all alone in your lonely room, and there's nothing but the smell of her perfume, don't you feel like crying? Don't you feel like crying? Here I am, honey. Come on, come on. Cry to me. Oh, nothing can be sadder than a glass of wine alone. Loneliness is such a waste of your time. Oh God, that sounds awful. You know what it is? It's because I'm in my talking voice instead of singing. I'm not like I've been talking so much that I'm not. With singing, it's really kind of hard because you have to change everything about your voice. Otherwise, it just sounds like you're talking. When your baby leaves you all alone, and nobody calls you on the phone, don't you feel like crying? Don't you feel like crying? Here I am, honey, come on. Here I am, honey. Come on, cry to me. Oh, nothing can be sadder than a glass of water. Loneliness, loneliness is such a waste of your time. Oh, yeah. You never had to walk alone. You see, come on, take my hand, baby. Walk with me. Oh, yeah. When you waited for a voice to come in the night, but there's no one. Don't you feel like crying? Don't you feel like crying? Here I am, honey. Come on, come on, cry to me. I don't know why I couldn't do that song. That song sounded horrible. Not that I do it very well anyway, but that it sounds particularly terrible tonight. I think I've just talked myself out, and I think I'm ready for sleep now. So, if you got to the end of this video, I love you. Now you know a little bit more about me. If you're newer to my channel, there were 349 people. Maybe I'll get like one more, and then I'll have like an even 350. I'm into like even numbers. I don't know. I was one of those people. I used to chew my food, not 32 times on each side of my face or anything like that or whatever. I just used to have this thing, this OCDness, where I used to try to chew my food equal times on each side of my mouth. I don't want one part of my mouth to get jealous over the other. It was weird. It was just this weird concept of a world that should be entirely fair, and you know it's not. The world's not fair, and everybody, even if they're not created equal because we're different people, we should have equal opportunity, but we don't, and we know that. And but we need to strive for more equality, not just in our families and not just in our communities, not just in our cities and states, and not even in our countries. We really need to strive for creating that example of equality that we're supposed to have as Americans. We need to be that example to the rest of the world, and we can't be that example to the rest of the world when we're not treating people as equal, especially if they're not citizens. But it's been on my mind. I needed to say it, and I didn't mean to politicize it. I'm so sorry about that, but I don't know. I love you guys, and God bless you. Love and light. Ciao, Bella. All that. Good night. Really, love and light, because we need that.